Characters. Who are they? What are they? Who will they become? So much goes into the creation of a character, their backstory, culture, beliefs, image, eye color, description, personalities, and so much more. As readers, we only get a glimpse of what truly goes into each character. So grab a beverage and get comfortable as we explore this episode's character in depth with your host, Madilynn Dale.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Character Driven. I have a fun guest for you guys to meet tonight. We're going to be talking about another interesting character. I'm hoping I will pronounce the name right because we talked about it pre-show, and I still am worried I'm going to mess it up. But without further ado, let me bring her in, and I'll let her introduce herself and tell us a little bit about the character we're going to be chatting about.
Hi, guys. I'm Tiffany Vega. I'm an indie author of 3 books currently out, working on my 4th one. And the character we're going to talk about is from the my series called The Elements. She is introduced in the first book, Destiny Desire, and her name is Hecate.
Yes.
Goddess of Hecate is actually the goddess of magic and the crossroads. So
she's going to be a fun one to talk about because, she's got a lot of things surrounding her. And I'm curious, what role does she play in your book series?
So, without giving too much away, she is one of the 7, there's actually 7 main characters in the series. You meet the first 3 elements, and she happens to be the first element that is found in the series. So she plays almost like a second leader because somebody is tasked with leading them, but she kind of stands up and directs the group in the decisions that they make.
Mm-hmm. Sweet. I like that. So where did the inspiration come from for her in this book series? Because I know it's not strictly just who she is in history.
No, she is, again, without giving too much, she is not the actual goddess, but she is somebody who inherits her powers. And the inspiration is, I'm obsessed with mythology, like Greek mythology, Roman mythology, Hawaiian mythology, and all of them have a part in the series, but she happened to be the one goddess that I was okay, I think she is just beautiful, and the things that she stands for, which people are oh my God, witchcraft, it's a horrible thing. It could be a beautiful thing with herbs, and magic doesn't necessarily have to be dark. And crossroads, a beginning. So you have to make a choice and start a new beginning or stay in your past. And that's what a crossroad is for. And she is almost a play on the crossroad demons. In mythology, she actually starts out as a demon in the beginning of the book. So,
So is it a spoiler if I ask what causes her to become good?
She's actually was never a bad demon. She had made a deal with somebody, and she just inherited demon traits and had to work for the Queen of Hell. So
yeah, sweet. Did you just say Queen of Hell?
Yes.
Yes, I love it. I love the spin on that too, because normally it's the King of Hell and Lucifer and stuff. Even I have Lucifer in my series. So I like that twist.
But he's not the bad guy in the series.
Yeah. So different take on that. What is the world like that you've created around this character?
She grew up not knowing anything about demons and other gods and goddesses. She grew up with the one, she's named after Hecate, the goddess, because her mom was a follower of the religion, but she always like fought against it because she never believed what was going on, and that she thought her mom was crazy until she got pushed into the world by pretty much selling her soul for some stupid guy.
Always love, always love. So tell me more about the love thing that happens and how she's pushed into things. Like, let's elaborate on that.
So at the beginning of the book, she ends up falling in love with like her high school crush, the star football player who ends up getting hurt, and heard rumors about her knowing witchcraft. Her mom was into it and stuff, and tricks her into like spending the night at her house so he can go through her things. He ends up actually making the deal with the Queen of Hell, and in order to save him, she offered herself instead. So she got pushed into this world of magic, and of course that once it happened, he was gone. Tell as old as time. Boy leaves the girl hanging. Almost like Hercules and Meg.
Yeah.
Meg, so she's serving out her sentence, and there is a romance in there with her, and she, but he just happens to be the demon that's teaching her the ropes.
So kind of like a romance with her teacher kind of thing.
Kind of, yes.
Ooh.
So
do things get steamy then a little bit in this book?
Well, very little steam. I mean, I think there's like one little like innuendo of them kind of, having their moment. But the second book is definitely the steamier, I think, of the three. So
the story with the world, does it start out in like modern times, like modern world?
Yes.
And then when she shifts into having to do her sentence, does she end up going somewhere different?
So most of the story takes place in modern world. They do travel into they do travel in hell, and some of the story does take place in hell. But most of it is the Queen of Hell wants to break into the gates of heaven so she can remake the world in her view. And so a lot of it has with them going on a journey to different countries to find each of the elements, because there's 6 elements that have to come together to protect the gate of heaven.
Yeah.
So a lot of it takes place in their country. So like in the first book, it's in New Orleans. Then there is an element in China, and then there's an element in Hawaii. And each one is named after one of the gods or goddesses in that area. So.
Sweet. That is fascinating. I already like that idea. So her job in all of this, how does she fulfill it? Does she end up completing her task to be free by the end?
So with the,
I guess without too much spoilers.
Since it arcs over 3 books, technically she has not filled her destiny. However, she has found a way to embrace who she really is in the book, and with that gives her a lot more power to break free of her deal with the Queen of Hell, and find a new path on her own, with the help of the elements around them. So it is, she definitely grows as a character. Her strength, she starts off the book kind of like unsure, like almost weak, because like not confident, and she definitely grows to like this real strong, confident individual that's like, okay, I can do this, we can do this, that there's no ifs, ands, or buts, we're saving the world.
Ooh, I like it. Does some of her self-doubt and everything, does that stem from growing up, from being around her family and who they are?
A lot of it does, because she was raised in a very cult-like environment, And so she wasn't allowed to date. She wasn't allowed to like dress, certain ways. It was very like that you are a devout follower of this, and that's all you can be. And she pretty much kind of like ran away from home to go to college because she wanted to have that experience, So, and that's like the big part. That's where she finds like, okay, the world's not fair. And, maybe I should have stayed at home. And so everything she kind of did in the beginning of her class was very doubtful. She was very unsure about herself because she never had that life experience. First time she left home, she sold her soul,
Oh, yeah. I was going to ask what some of the other trials she had to go through before that happened. Like, were there some minor things? I mean, the huge part is definitely the lover and the jaded stuff that happens there. But
it's actually the first chapter, it's a prologue that tells you kind of like how that happens. But I'm writing a novella of like her backstory and stuff. So, and how she got there and how her family was. So you get a little bits and pieces of it, but it has not like been said yet exactly what the cult was like, and her mom was like prior to her like leaving home. So, but that's that is being written currently.
Ooh, awesome. So what was your favorite scene to write involving her?
I think the very first chapter 1, not the prologue, but the very first chapter 1, when you first meet her, is probably my favorite scene, because it is from a viewpoint of somebody else that is looking to make a deal. And she makes it very obvious, like, this is not kind of like what you want to do. It's a bad thing, but it's my job, so I kind of have to do it. And just the way that she speaks to this woman, she like rolls her S's to make her sound like a snake, and her eyes kind of flash from red to black, just to be like, okay, are you really knowing what you're doing? You're like making a deal with the devil here, And I think that was my favorite scene to write with her in it, and probably the ending of this story.
What are some of her quirks that you kind of wrote into existence for her? Does she have anything that's like weird or kind of funny that stands out with her personality?
She only wears leather. And she won't wear anything else besides leather, and it has to be all black. So she won't wear like any color, and she's always making comments about her clothes. So
was that something that stemmed from not being able to wear that before?
Now that you said it, yes. I put it in there just because when I kind of made the character, I wanted her to look like she was bad, but really deep down, she's a sweetheart. And, but it's more of like, make it tell, she's around a bunch of evil beings, and she kind of wants to fit in and not stand out, which is probably a lot to do with the fact that she never could stand out in a big crowd. So she just kind of wants to fit in and not be seen.
Yeah. And I also kind of makes me wonder, if she were to stand out in the crowd with all the baddies, would she maybe be picked on possibly?
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, she's not like a full demon. So she would probably be like definitely picked on by the real demons.
Ooh. So. That's crazy. Does she kind of gather an alliance of friends, or not really an alliance? Like, does she gather a group of friends once she gets to hell? She's in hell, right?
Well, yeah, technically that's where she is.
Okay.
Like living, but most of the story based around her happens in New Orleans, because their demons are allowed to inhabit homes. Because they could take on human forms. So really you don't know, like, because most demons happen to be like indebted to Lilith. And if they don't make so it's kind of like you make a deal. If you don't meet your deal, then you become a demon.
Yeah.
And the person that she is her teacher, that she becomes involved with, has like homes across, the United States, because he's been, technically a demon for years, and, you accumulate things here and there. So most of it takes place in one of their homes. But when she goes to like speak with Lilith and stuff, it all takes place in hell. So she can teleport from like hell to earth, and in between, like to travel, it could be like in a blink of an eye, because she has the ability to pass through hell.
Ooh. How did she begin to learn how to use those powers?
It a lot to do with her teacher. His name is Alistair. Teaches her. He saw something in her when they had made the deal, and he's like, okay, I'll take her under my wings. I'll teach her. And she just became like this powerful like demon in their realm. But I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that she had the magic in her to begin with, being that she inherited from the goddess. And so it was like a combination of like good and evil, like mixed in.
So she finally found a way to like access what was already there, and it made her, combined with what she was given, stronger than everybody.
Yes.
Cool.
Because she never even knew she had it until like halfway through the book, she finds out like, hey, this is what I've been telling you all your life. And like her mom's like, you've always had this in you. So.
Ooh. Does her and her mom's relationship change after she takes her jaded lover's place?
She, up until she finds out that she is an element, she had not spoken to her mom since she left. She never told her mom what happened to her. And there is definitely a heartwarming moment where she goes and confides to her mom, like, this is what happened. I don't know what to do anymore. Because like her deal's coming to an end. So she either has to give up that world and give up the person that she cares about, or stay a demon and lose her soul forever. And she doesn't want to do either one. And so it's all about like, mom, tell me what to do. Like, I need you, So that was a very heart-wrenching moment.
I believe it. That makes my heart ache. Like, that's a tough one for sure. And I'm not going to ask what she decides, because obviously we need to read the book to find that out. So,
and her mom does help her find a way. So, their relationship begins to mend. So that's really good.
Ooh. Does she keep up a relationship with any of her siblings after running away?
She didn't have any siblings.
Okay. I didn't know if since it was in a kind of like a covenant kind of thing, if anybody was.
No, she supposedly, she's like a prophecy type child, like this is going to be the one that, takes over, or like the reborn of the goddess. And she's like, all her life, she's like, no, that's just silly. You can't be a reborn goddess,
Ooh. But she kind of is, right?
I'll give it away, kind of.
Yes. Yeah. Because, as much power and stuff as she's got, she definitely takes a spin, and it's not probably exactly what everybody expected.
No, and it's not what anybody expected. And it's like her journey definitely is definitely going to take course over, because it's 3 books, and we won't actually find out exactly who or what she is until that very end. So it's her journey is definitely like a hurricane mixed in with a tsunami. Like it just everywhere.
What is one of the hardest lessons she has to learn when she's working with Alistair?
That things are not as bad as they seem.
Mhm.
You know, she thought her life was over when she became a demon, and they actually live a pretty normal, like everyday life. You know, they get up, they do like, you know, their job when they're called upon, and then, you know, they spend dinner together. So it's not the ending just because she gave up her soul. So
Huh. That's precious.
yeah,
Does he develop feelings for her first, or does she develop feelings first?
I think he develops feelings for her first, for sure. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love it.
I think for him, it was love at first sight. Like when he
Mhm.
saw her, I know there's something special about her. It definitely took her a long time to warm up to him.
Yeah.
It almost like Beauty and the Beast. Like she saw him as a monster, and it took time to like, okay, he's not that bad.
Yeah. And she also came in with like a lot of baggage too. So, I mean, that's going to inhibit the development of any kind of relationship with anybody.
Yes, for sure.
Does she become friends? Not like, does she have friends in the demon realm besides Alistair? Or is he the only one that she kind of keeps close?
He's the only one.
Okay.
Yeah, she doesn't like the world, but she has to tolerate it until she finishes her deal with the queen.
Mm. How does she interact when they're living, I'm going to call it topside in the human world? How do they interact with the humans? Like, how do they keep their secret and stuff?
Because they can, like, almost like, you know, vampires can glamour somebody, like they can hide who they are.
Yeah.
They can change their eye colors, and it just happens to be that Alistair and uh, her, she's human, is still in a human body, and so is he. He's never took a demonic form, so they look human. They can pass as human. The only difference is that they could like crush somebody if they wanted to.
The vicious don't make me mad. Do they ever befriend any of the humans, or do they keep to themselves?
They keep to themselves until they she goes on a quest, or her quest.
Mhm.
And he does not want to leave her side, so he comes along with her. And then they become friends with the people that they are like pretty much thrown into their lives. By the end of the story, they like see themselves kind of as a family,
Aw.
instead of being alone, because each person in this particular story, they feel like outcasts because of their powers. So like together they kind of feel like they found like a family with these people who have these different powers.
Hmm. And did those people also make a deal with?
No.
Okay.
No, each one has like a different story. They're all given powers from the gods or goddesses they're named after, because they're like supposed to be like the reincarnation of the group.
Yeah.
And so they each have a gift from that god. Some of them family might have made a pact with the god. Some of them may just have been like, okay, we'll find out more about that in like the second book with the backstory about why these gods, who they gift them to. But they chose each person for a reason.
Ooh. Kind of like we know what your destiny is. You don't, here's your gift for life. Ooh.
Yeah.
That's really fascinating. They have a duty, so to speak, to go out there and change the world. I like
Yes.
it. Like,
And they all don't want it because they all see it as a curse and not a gift. So
yeah.
they're different, and people see them differently.
Mm-hmm.
And some people think they're monsters and stuff. So, and not everybody, like normal people, like say I was walking down the street and I saw one of them, I would never know, you know, and magic and stuff is not something that normal people know about. are even know like the existence of like heaven and hell. It's like if people were today were to have powers and we didn't know it, we just walk past them. It's just their close knit of people that they have around them that know.
Cool. Well, Tiffany, we have reached the end of our time. So go ahead and tell everyone where they can find you and this amazing book series.
You can find it on Amazon and you can read it for free on Kindle Unlimited. If you would like signed copies or even want to know what I'm doing on my blog, you can go to booksbytiffanyvega.com and everything will be right there.
Awesome. All right, guys, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, check out both of our work, and don't forget, it's always time to go indie now.
Then she reminded herself that this was something that she had to do, something that had to be done so she can get her normal life back. The life that she had before a stupid boy ruined it, just like a stupid man just ruined Liz's. However, she did make the best of it. It took a while to get used to being part demon. Well, just the demon powers, unless she didn't finish the deal. She was still a human, but the power, how they traveled, and whom they worked for were all new still. She felt like she was never going to get the hang of it. She got all the powers and strength of a demon and still got to keep her soul. So her humanity was still intact, which was emotionally hard, which was probably why it was part of the deal. She always thought that Lilith did it to torture her. After all, sentencing others to death to get your freedom was a great way to guilt someone into making no deals and becoming a demon. When she first came here, it felt like a prison. Every time that she would try and escape, some magic popped her right back home. It was not until she accepted that this was her life that she was able to leave the house without being magically transported back. Now, when she looked at it, she remembered all the good memories that Alistair and her had in this home. The image of him bringing her home for the first time, her throwing up from the travel. He was so kind to her, even as she told him to piss off. Then there was the night that she realized that he was not a bad guy and that she should stop being such a witch to him. He had made her dinner and sat there with her, making sure that she got enough. She peered into the large window, looking through the dining room into the kitchen, looking at the man working on dinner. He rushed from oven to the refrigerator and back. His blonde hair flowed behind him like the exhaust of a car. She couldn't help but smile. She knew that he was doing this all for her. Alistair didn't have to eat. Sometimes being a demon had its perks, but he loved making her smile, which she didn't get much of in her old life. Her smile turned into sadness when she thought about the future, because he was not going to be there.